What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Apogee Fitness Podcast, coming to you from the Apogee Therapy Center recording studio. My name's David Carter.
Kevin Harrington.
And Kevin, I think we've outdone ourselves today. I think
We're getting double teamed tonight?
we're getting double teamed by kids who are barely outside of being minors. So I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about tonight because they're way younger than us.
We can talk about Star Wars and
Yeah.
I've never seen Star Wars.
Exactly.
That's a shame.
panda bears,
Yeah.
unicorns,
NFTs.
NFTs. Oh, wow. You guys are new to that stuff now.
All right. Well, real
Way
quick,
past
we're just
cryptos.
so this is just going to kind of be a round robin, shoot from the hip kind of podcast. We've got Jackson Drohan. What's up, bro?
What's up, dude?
And we got Zack Strehl.
What's up?
What's
Thanks for
up,
having
guys?
me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming over on a Thursday.
So what heritage is Strehl and Drohan?
Drohan is Irish.
Okay. I'm going to guess Germany for the other one or Norwegian?
I think it's part German and Switzerland or something like that.
I mean, you have blonde hair, so you fit the bill. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
What are you guys doing this summer? Anything fun?
Work. Train.
Working and
out.
training. Went to
Went to
All
the
right.
CrossFit Games. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I want to talk about that. So real quick, let's just give a quick background on these guys. So Zack and Jackson both work out at Crash. They're both pretty high-level athletes. The whole reason we have them on the podcast tonight is because we want to talk about how CrossFit has become more of a sport for kids, just like basketball or soccer or football. How both of these guys have kind of grown up as CrossFit being their sport, and just kind of seeing how, that happened.
Do you
And
think college will ever have a CrossFit team?
Absolutely, I think so in the future.
I don't see why not.
I mean, I don't see why high school won't have it soon.
I think
it'll happen in college before it happens in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest difficulty is definitely going to be like you watch football games, the same thing every time. Basketball game, it's the same thing every time. CrossFit, it's like you never know who's programming the game.
And it'd also be hard to have they have Friday night football, have Friday night CrossFit competitions
Right.
every.
You can't do it every
You can't do
weekend.
it every week.
Right.
Yeah.
But there
And
might
you couldn't cut that team. You couldn't have
No.
you couldn't be like, I've got a high school CrossFit team. Well, that would be your whole school, potentially.
Just cut them if they suck. It's just hard.
And
You'd
the
have certain weaknesses, and then they're just no, and then.
And the thing is, you could if you're actually doing a team, kind of do it like wrestling. How, one person is doing one event and it's like a 5-minute thing, and then the next event is like a couple other people from the team competing. So they're not doing 10 events in one weekend or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can think it'd be more of an Olympic sport before it goes to college or high
I
school.
hope it never goes.
I
to
hope
the
it never
Olympics.
goes to the Olympics.
Yeah, me neither. Why do
Never
you
know.
hope it never goes to the Olympics?
Because there's the CrossFit Games every year. What are you going to do about the CrossFit Games in the Olympics?
There's a World Series every year.
But they happen at the same time.
There's
this
a
year.
World Cup every 4 years.
I know, but the
I mean,
CrossFit.
there's NBA championship every year.
But there's a CrossFit Games every year. So but if they happen in the same year, because during this year, weren't the CrossFit Games and Olympics on at the exact same time?
They were.
So how would you do that then?
Well,
Dave would have to figure something.
they would
Yeah.
have to figure it out. I don't know. I already.
They've
think,
already started doing the tour of the nations when they come in at the beginning.
And that's the thing.
That's
It's
true.
become more of an international sport already. So I feel like
Definitely in the past couple of years. International.
I would much rather just keep it the CrossFit Games and
I think it'd be cool if
Keep
they
it
brought
something.
back I wasn't even doing CrossFit when they
the
were doing this,
Invitational?
but the Invitational. I think that'd be cool. If they
I
started doing
loved
that.
watching the Invitational. I really wish they would bring that back.
yeah. And the thing is, I don't know if I'm talking out of my butt here or not, but CrossFit is a business. It's a corporation. So you would have to call it something else. It couldn't be called CrossFit if it was the Olympics, because it would have to be like a sport. Like there's the sport of basketball,
The sport of functional.
but then there's
but
NBA, right? It's not like we're having the NBA in the Olympics. We're having basketball in the Olympics. So it would have to be
Functional
called
fitness.
something
functional
else.
fitness.
Right.
The sport of
Calisthenics.
Right.
Calisthenics.
All right, Jackson, how old are you?
21.
21. Zach, how old are you?
Just turned 19.
All right. And Zach, what are you doing with your life? Are you in college right now?
Yeah, I'm about to be a sophomore at Wofford.
Sophomore at Wofford. And where did you grow up?
Spartanburg.
Okay, so you were
From
born
Spartanburg.
and raised in Spartanburg and didn't leave Spartanburg, so you're still in Wofford.
Yep.
Awesome.
Playing any sports in college?
In college? No.
You said you were at Wofford, right?
Yeah.
It is college, right?
Yeah.
You're not playing any sports at Wofford? then,
No,
right?
no.
Okay. Just wanted to make that clear.
CrossFit's my thing.
CrossFit. Perfect.
Awesome. So let's just focus on Zack for a minute here. So Zack, born and raised in Spartanburg. Tell us a little bit about your life growing up. Were you always involved in sports, or was that kind of something that happened later on with CrossFit?
Yeah, started in sports just like any other kind of athletic kid, or would like to think they're athletic. Started with soccer and then baseball, played football for like a year, but baseball was my big thing. And then in middle school, I started playing tennis, and I played tennis from middle school to my junior year of high school at Spartanburg High School.
So you played baseball in high school or before middle school?
No, before middle school. So, I mean, I wasn't like, high level, but like I played on a travel ball team for
I gotcha. Okay.
3 years or so.
Sweet.
Awesome. So why did you stop playing tennis your junior year?
Oh, of high school. Really because of CrossFit, honestly. Like, I wanted to spend more time doing CrossFit and wanted to spend less time playing tennis.
That's interesting. All right. So when did you first walk into a CrossFit gym?
So kind of a longish story. So I started CrossFit at Spartanburg Athletic Club, and Josh Miller and Jamie Miller were managing that gym. And they had mostly just like bodybuilding and couple racquetball courts in that gym. And I would probably in like 10th grade, I was getting kind of chubby. So I would go to the gym in the morning with my parents at 5 a.m. and do just like circuit workouts, burpees, and thrusters and stuff.
All right,
in
so
the bodybuilding.
Did your mom say you were getting chubby, or did you say you were getting chubby?
Oh, it was all me, like very
dude.
much a self-confidence.
The mom will always say,
The
"It's
mom-
okay, you're not chubby."
Oh no, my mom was brutal. I remember. I'm gonna interject here real quick. I remember in college, it was specifically my junior year of college. I was living in the fraternity house, and I came home for the summer, and my mom goes, "You are extremely fat. You have to work on that this summer."
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Was that your freshman 20?
She fat shamed me. Yeah, my junior year though. I mean, I was always in good shape up until that year, and then I was in the frat house, and all we did was drink Busch Lights and eat spaghetti. So I might have went to the gym twice that entire year. So, anyways, back to your story.
Yeah,
High
so
school.
they actually started doing like demolition to a couple of their rooms at Zack, and started bringing in all these rogue boxes and whatnot. And then, long story short, they started a like functional fitness class, pretty much CrossFit, but they called it Zone. I think like the YMCA's incorporate the same like
It's like
zone,
beast mode.
Yep.
my zone thing. But yeah. So after they started that, it took me a little bit to convince myself to walk in there. But yeah, started taking classes with Josh and Jamie, and I would actually go to the 5 a.m. class, and then I started going to the 5 a.m. class and the 5 p.m. class. So I would go before school and then again after school, which hindsight, I was doing the same exact workout, and it was not a good idea. It was my body was feeling it. It was not a good idea, but yeah, that's how I got into it. So that was like February of 2019, and then started at Crash in like May of 2020.
Were your morning times better than your evening times, or was it vice versa?
The afternoon times are always better.
I don't know. I can't really remember. I've always not had a problem working out in the morning though.
I'm just saying, did you track any of that kind of stuff when you were that age?
Not really. Just because there was nobody else in there that I was competing against, and so I wasn't really keeping track with my own times.
So I'm interested. So you were playing tennis up until your junior year. You started really loving CrossFit, dropped tennis. What did your friends think about that? Were they like, "Oh, here's the CrossFit kid," or were they?
Yeah, kind of. I was actually listening to Dolan Pepper, who's my age, I think, on Savant, but he's way more successful in the sport. But on the Savant podcast, and he was talking about how his friends would give him a hard time about doing CrossFit and stuff, and I could kind of relate to that.
Yeah, dude, my friends would give me all the crap. Like, "You're not coming to party with us?" "No, man, I'm gonna go to the gym." Like,
yeah. Especially, like, it wasn't just in the gym, too. Like, I really started to eat differently, and so, like, I wasn't bringing, like,
bring your lunch every day.
Ham and turkey sandwich with Doritos. Like, I wasn't eating that anymore. I was eating, like, bringing my own lunch and doing all that meal prep and stuff. So they were like, what are you doing?
So what, the whole chicken and rice and veggies kind of thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you have a microwave at your school?
Yeah.
So you go to private school?
Riverside did not have a microwave, so I literally could not do that. It was like turkey wraps with like wrapped in lettuce type stuff.
Yeah.
So you were skipping the whole high school pizza experience, all that 9 yards?
For the most part, for junior and senior year, for sure, yeah.
High school pizza is trash.
Dude, not when I was growing up. It was great, dude.
So
Sheet pan pizza.
I went from like probably 5'4", 155 with very little muscle to 130, losing weight, working out and stuff, and eating probably way less than I should have been. And then once I really got into CrossFit and started teaching myself more about nutrition and stuff, that's when I started putting on a little bit of muscle and getting bigger.
Still 5'4"?
Still a process.
Yeah.
Close. 5'6", I think.
How much do you weigh now?
5'7", maybe. 170.
Wow, nice. That's a lot. That's a lot of muscle packing in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I'd like to think it's all muscle, but maybe a little bit of fat in there too.
You have to.
You
though,
have to,
man.
man.
If you're gonna perform, you gotta have a little bit.
You gotta have a little bit.
Yeah.
I always look at, Matt Frazier's not the leanest guy, but he's definitely the fittest guy. So.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I always say too.
It's always feel better when I'm eating pizza. It's like Fraser has a fat. It's fine.
I'm gonna eat this Snickers bar now for my recovery. All right, so Jackson, let's talk a little about you, bud. So, first of all, you're from Greenville.
Yep,
born and raised. Went to Riverside High.
I did.
Talk a little bit about your sports background growing up, and then how you got involved in CrossFit.
So I didn't really do that much sports growing up till about like 5 years old. I did about like t-ball and a little bit of basketball and stuff. But then when I turned 5, I did gymnastics.
So you didn't do much sports growing up until you were 5 years old.
Well, like,
Geez, from the time you were 1 to
Dude,
4, it's like, I'm not doing nothing.
He's barely
5 years old.
He's barely
T-ball gymnastics for me, man.
well, I wanted to.
He's barely legal, dude.
Yeah,
5
no.
wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. I just remember being at the pool and seeing these kids doing all these cool tricks off the diving board. I'm like, man, I really want to learn how to do that. So I try to do these flips off the side of the pool. And every mom that has a young kid will never let their kid flip off the side of the pool because they don't want to let them hit their head. So she took me to Airborne Athletics, which is in Greenville.
Right.
So I competed in gymnastics for 8 years until I was about 13. Really didn't love it at age 13, and my parents could see that. And you're paying $200 a month to have your kid go to 3-hour practices every day. They just want to see you happy and do something different. So my dad started CrossFit in January of 2013, and he brought me along to CrossFit Redeemed, which is no longer around here.
So you weren't a fan of the pommel horse?
That was my worst event, actually. I was state champion in floor and vault, but everything else I was terrible at.
Gotcha.
And then started CrossFit when I was about 13.
And now you have rings again, and you're like, yeah, I can do this.
I remember, like, I walked into CrossFit Redeemed the first time, and there was these people trying to do a muscle up, and they just couldn't. And my dad goes, "Can you do that?" And I was like, "Yeah." So like, there's this young kid walking into a CrossFit gym, being able to do muscle ups and handstand walks and all that jazz.
How old were you at that point?
13.
13.
He'd already
Well,
retired.
that's easy. You were born in 2013. That makes life easy.
Yeah.
So from the 5 years, he was 5 years old till he was 13. He retired from gymnastics. Went
Yes.
straight into
So
CrossFit.
competed in gymnastics for a while. Was really good at floor and vault. In gymnastics, you compete in 10 levels before you go to like junior nationals and stuff. So overall, I was like level 6 or 7, but I could compete in floor and vault in level 10. And the way in gymnastics works, it's kind of like CrossFit. You're an individual, but you're on a team as well. So we all competed individual, but at the end, we got a team score. So if I specialized in 2, I took 0s for everything else. It would benefit me, but hurt the team. So it just didn't make sense.
So in gymnastics for men in general, it's what are the disciplines that women don't do, or what are the disciplines that men don't do that women do?
We don't do. They have uneven bars. We just have one normal. It's just called high bar, so one pull-up bar. And men don't do beam.
Okay.
But women do floor and vault, and so do we. Women don't do pommel horse. Women don't do parallel bars, and we have high bar. They have uneven bars.
Do women do rings?
No.
All right.
No,
So when you say you're on a team, like what what was your team? Like
So,
your gym?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go into airborne athletics, we have banners, kind of like this Born Primitive banner that has all of our names from when we won state. So there's like 8 of us on the team.
So do you also compete in like rhythmic gymnastics and like ribbon and ball?
So women do that on floor routines. Men do not.
Why not?
I have no idea.
So y'all mainly are just tumbling like on floor routines?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's none of that dancing with ribbons and leotards and stuff like that.
So when you guys went to competitions, did you guys go as just a male team, or was the females with you?
We didn't have a female team.
Okay.
So we only had a male team, and we would compete against like 8 or 10 teams. So gymnastics competitions are one person goes at a time on each event, and your whole team goes, but you have like breaks in between. So gymnastics competitions are like 8 to 10 hours long. My parents hated.
So it's
going
like
to
a
gymnastics
rotation,
competitions.
right? Like
Yeah.
you guys start on the
You
ball.
start on one, and you just rotate through all 6.
Okay.
Wow.
So like we'd be like some of them we'd have to like travel. I've been to Lake Murray, just like in the southeast. We'd have to travel, go there, have to be there like 7 or 8, and not leave till like 6, and then drive home.
Yeah. That's a long.
That was kind of
day.
like how tennis tournaments were too. Like, because I would play in like USTA tournaments aside from, like the school stuff. And, yeah, playing like 3 matches a day, and like looking back on it, I feel for my parents.
Yeah, I feel for your parents because in the total of 6 events, you probably competed 10 minutes. So you compete, and then you sit there, and then you compete, and then you sit there. So they're just like, my dad's like taking naps, reading books, and then my mom and my sister are just like bored out of their mind.
I hope your parents listen to this so they can know that you guys appreciate them now.
Oh, yeah.
But tennis is just like, I mean, I'm sure you.
Tennis is more fun to watch than gymnastics.
I don't know, man. Tennis.
If you don't know who's going on.
I hate watching tennis, and I'm sure my parents enjoyed watching me, but like
It's like my parents, like you see your parents cheer for you, and then like you look around, you're like, where'd they go? Like they don't care about these other kids. Like,
Right.
Like I swam competitively in middle school up to freshman year in high school, and it was boring. I didn't like to watch it. It's like, but now I don't mind watching it.
The only gymnastic stuff I like to watch is Simone Biles. That's it.
Yeah.
Just because you have to appreciate greatness at that point.
So did you meet any famous people growing up that we may know? Like, did you ever compete against anybody?
No.
As
far as gymnastics, no.
Yeah.
CrossFit, yes. Gymnastics, no.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about Zach. You coming from Spartanburg Athletic Club. How did you make your way over to Crash?
So that was May or spring of 2020 was like first COVID quarantine. And Josh was mainly telling me, Josh Miller was like, hey dude, you got to go check out Crash. And being somebody that wasn't going to Crash, I was like, I don't know if I'm like, good enough to like be going to Crash. But so during quarantine, JR opened the new facility, the new gym, and that was so like when he opened that was my first time going to Crash. So I've pretty much been going to Crash when the first day that he opened that new place. So yeah, it was definitely weird going from SAC where like I walked in and said hey to the 40 and 50-year-olds that I walked by and knew everybody, to go into a gym where like you're walking in and you don't know a single soul. Everybody's a stranger.
So what are you majoring in at Wofford?
Business economics.
So what are your kind of goals as far as the CrossFit looks? I mean, we're obviously talking to you about it as your main sport. I mean, you guys are young and coming up. I mean, I remember when I started, and there was no hope for me. But I mean, obviously, you guys have something. I mean,
yeah, I think that's the interesting thing, because if you look at the landscape of CrossFit right now, and you hear this on all kinds of podcasts, a lot of the people are the majority of the men's field were 30 or older, or maybe not the majority.
It's like 28.
They had more 30 and older men in this year's CrossFit competition than ever before. And
I think that just comes with maturity.
Yeah.
As far as like men mature way faster or slower than women do. So I feel like we won't hit our athletic peak for another like 6 or 7 years, which is crazy to think about the fact that like we're kind of good, but like the potential for us to keep going is nuts.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is because you guys started so young, and a lot of the people that you see right now in the landscape started in like maybe their mid-20s or early 20s at the most.
I think I've been doing CrossFit almost 9 years, and I'm only 21.
Which is insane, right? So, like, you mean Rich Froning's been doing CrossFit for, what, 12 years?
12, 13 years.
Yeah, and you've been doing it for 9 years, and you're 21, like you just said. So, the potential for, like, kids starting that young is insane. What kind of things, starting as, like, a 13-year-old and it sounds like a 15, 16-year-old right around there, what kind of things do you feel like you were better able to learn more quickly? I remember Jackson, for instance. I remember, Jackson was working with us over here at Apogee Therapy Center for a while, and I remember him talking to a patient about when they were doing, I don't even remember what exercise it was, but he's like, hey, just push through your heels. And it's just kind of a concept that a lot of us older people who grew up playing soccer or football or basketball have a hard time with, because we always have to be on our toes.
I definitely had a hard time with that when I first started CrossFit, because gymnastics is all on your toes as well. So my ankle mobility was very garbage when I first started, worse than it is now. So learning, just, I think for anyone starting out that young, is like form over anything. Because my form was terrible, and I didn't have great coaches at the time until I was about like 16, 17 to like really help me with that. So like my numbers probably could be so much higher if I had just more like muscle memory as far as that stuff goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I think that being semi-athletic and starting young, like I think I was able to learn the Olympic lifts a little bit more fluently. Like even going to the games, like watching the Masters athletes, not so much like JR's division, but watching like the 50, 60-year-olds during their max snatch, it's like they just have these habits that are ingrained in their body that they're not going to get rid of. They cannot unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like it's not like I like was able to watch an Olympic lifter and then like go replicate it right off the bat, but that is how I taught myself. And going through like bad form for a little bit to learn how to do it right.
Just videoing yourself helps so much. I learned that from Sergio for sure, because he would film everything when we first started working out together, and I'd be like, I didn't realize how crappy I looked working out, and then it's like, oh, I need to fix that or I'm going to get hurt.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me too was like, because after doing CrossFit for, I don't know, a few months, I realized that like, okay, the gymnastic stuff I'm going to be okay at, and the strength is something that's going to take years to develop as far as powerlifting and Olympic.
So what is your
lifting
back
goes.
squat at right now, Zach?
365.
What's your snatch at?
210.
And your clean and jerk?
275.
And you're how old?
19.
I wouldn't worry about it.
For me, it's
amazing.
like, for some reason, I think the gymnastics has to help with, but I'm very powerful. So the Olympic lifts and power lifts came a lot easier to me when I first started working out.
You do know we were going to ask you this, right? Like we were coming around to ask you.
All right. Go ahead, Kevin.
But I mean, it was like not only is the right form important because it protects you from injury, like so that you don't get hurt, but it's also like I learned that the right way to do it is the most efficient way to do it. So like if I'm going to be a weaker athlete, like I need to be lifting the bar off the ground and over my head as efficiently as possible so that I can lift the most weight. So like the correct form isn't just that way because that's the way it is.
Have you gotten your level 1 yet?
I have, yeah.
You're 18 years old. Got your level 1. That's amazing.
I mean, you can definitely tell that JR is your coach, because I remember when he was on our podcast a couple months ago, and he was saying, and I 100% agreed with him too, because this is the way I look at it too. And I might not be the best mover either because I started way older than you guys, but I'm to the point where I appreciate better movement than like big numbers, right? So if I look at somebody in the gym and I see, wow, they can really move the bar efficiently and appropriately, like that speaks volumes about their training more so than just like throwing up and muscling up some large number.
For sure. Like seeing being somebody that's coaching classes, like if somebody walks in and I mean they might have, just because they're a new face and a stranger, like they might have done Olympic lifting before, but you've never seen them do it. And if it's like if their form looks good, like it just makes me want to like skip around the gym.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right,
appreciate a good
Jackson.
form. All right.
So where's your back squat at, sir?
Oh, here we go.
Uh
455.
455. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Jesus. Where's your snatch at?
300.
And your clean and jerk?
345.
oh. All right. So Jackson, you
Gotta put me on the
clearly
spot.
you have elite strength, right?
I would like to. Well,
You do. So if
Yes.
you
in
look
CrossFit, I have elite
it-
strength.
it-
As far as like
well, yeah,
Olympic
that's,
lifting,
and that's what we're talking about. We're
Yeah.
talking about CrossFit. We're talking about the sport of CrossFit.
my deadlift could be a little higher, but
What is your deadlift?
525. Most of the like,
Dude, I'm done with you.
See, well, like I looked at the last chance qualifier 3-rep max deadlift, and they're all pulling like 40s, and I'm like, holy crap! For 3, I was like, I'd never imagined when I first started CrossFit that would pull 500 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how about this? I shouldn't be saying this.
What is your deadlift?
I
We never
would've-
asked you that.
I would have gotten, I think, 8th or 9th place in the women's 3-rep max deadlift in the last chance qualifier.
There you go.
Something to brag about.
Yeah. it is.
Congratulations.
That's just
It's
my
insane.
deadlift, like that's my worst. That's definitely by far my weakest thing. Is
So Jackson, your numbers are obviously higher than probably anybody else in this room. Let's start with your baselines. When you started, what was your baseline squat at?
I think the first time I squatted 90 pounds.
Okay, that's not where I was going. But anyway, I was kind of hoping that. it had a
He
little
was
bit more
13
on it.
years old too.
I was 13.
Oh yeah. I forgot. You just retired. From
He didn't
gymnastics.
even his voice hadn't
Okay.
even cracked yet. He
So,
didn't even have
yeah.
any hair under his armpits yet.
I think the first time I squatted 315, I was 15, and the same time that's when I snatched 200 was when I was 15.
That's amazing.
And I think I cleaned 315 when I was 17 years old.
So I remember, I'll say this story real quick. I'm going to say 2 stories. First, Jackson. The first time I ever noticed Jackson was when I first really started like scrolling through Instagram. Before that, Instagram, I didn't really know what it was. It was just kind of like a way to get filters for pictures and put them on Facebook. So I remember scrolling through
When
Instagram.
you said that the other day, and I had no idea that's what you used it for. Like, I did not even know that was a thing.
Yeah, man. I was still like, I'm old, dude. Facebook was like my generation. And so I'm on Instagram, I'm scrolling through, and I'm following OSC, and I see this kid who I didn't even think he was probably 15 or 16 years old. He was wearing like a big white baggy shirt, and he was stepping up to this bar, and it had 45s, a couple 45s on each side.
I know it was 335. I know it.
Okay, it was 335. So I thought, all right, this kid's just going to deadlift it. And then all of a sudden he cleaned it. And I was like, what just happened? So I text Paulo right away. I was like, who is this kid who's like, he can't be more than 15 years old pulling this weight over at OSC? And he goes, oh, that's Jackson Drohan. And I was like, oh, man. So I started following you.
Yeah.
That's when I first started following you.
So let me ask you this question. Obviously you have weight strength, okay? Obviously you're pulling this big amount of weight when you're 15. Did it ever dawn on your mind to see where you would rank at your age in Olympic lifting?
I thought about doing. I've had people tell me over and over again to do an Olympic weightlifting competition.
Right.
It's just part of me doesn't want to train for it. Like if I ever do an Olympic weightlifting competition, I'm just gonna walk in and max out because I don't know if I just want to dedicate time to it because my body I don't think my body could handle.
Do you realize how much cardio you don't do?
I do a lot of cardio, man.
But in the sport of Olympic weightlifting, there is
yeah.
no cardio.
0.
You lift the weight,
Let's
sit
preface
down.
this. He just started doing a lot of cardio.
Yeah, past couple months.
You lift the weight, you sit down, you may go do some pulls and stuff. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not telling you. I'm just asking you from a standpoint.
Just from gymnastics injuries, my
Yeah.
body doesn't really handle it that well. As far as like I've had just some like knee and ankle stuff going on, and
Right.
then 2 years ago I severely hyperextended my elbows, so sometimes I really have to watch when my elbows get tight.
Right.
And it's when I snatch a lot. So if I'm snatching a lot, it's just my body just does not want.
When
to.
you miss a snatch, do you miss it up and over, or do you miss it out front?
I miss it up in front, I miss it behind. It's all over the place.
Okay.
Just depends on the weight.
I think for you, you just get a lot more gratification getting to the CrossFit Games than doing Olympic, getting really good at Olympic lifting.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think that's from the amount of time I've known you, which is a long time now. I feel like that is your goal. Zach, the first time I ever met you, or not met you, I didn't even meet you this day, but I saw you was it was a Clemson competition, and it was right before COVID.
Yeah.
You were there too.
That was my first competition.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
that was your first competition. I remember standing right by. What did you guys have to do? Were you guys maxing out in snatch or clean and jerk?
It was a thruster.
It was a thruster. That's
Under
right.
Was this a throwdown? Clemson throwdown?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went to go
Yeah,
watch.
Tiger Town throwdown or something.
Yeah,
2 years ago?
I went to go watch that competition. Wasn't even signed up, and someone from my gym, they were doing scaled, and her husband got hurt in the first workout, like messed up his knee. So she went up. She's like, "Hey, can Jackson just fill in for me?" And they're like, "Sure." So I did scaled.
Yeah, because I was doing scale because at that point, so I'd been doing CrossFit for a while, but that was my first competition,
Right.
and I was like, "Who is this guy?"
He looked-
doing scaled.
Yeah.
I think I didn't even have the heaviest thruster in scaled. Tony Gallagher from CrossFit Greer thrustered more than me.
Yeah.
And at that point, I didn't know who he was.
Well, he's a man. So.
He's a man. At that point, I weighed like 175.
I
Dude.
remember Zach was doing his thrusters, and he kept going up in weight, and I was just extremely impressed by the way you were moving. That was the biggest thing, how you were catching that bar. And I wasn't sure that when I actually heard you talk, if you were going to have a deep voice yet, because you looked so young. I just remember seeing that. And then I've obviously, ever since then, I've seen you around a lot, and now we work out together at Crash. But, and then Jackson, at that workout, I remember you hopped up on the pull-up bar to do those max effort pull-ups, and you rocked out like, I don't know, what was it? How many did you do?
I did like 100 pull-ups that day.
Yeah, it was stupid. I was
Because
like,
so the RX was doing bar muscle ups, I think. So I went up to the head judge. I'm like, "Hey, I'm just filling in, just here to have fun. Can I just do bar muscle ups?" And they told me I wasn't allowed to do it, which sucked, man. Because I would. But then again, I wasn't scaled, just filling in for somebody. So I want to be that dude that's just like, "Look at this kid," like being a douche. So I was just following it.
2 pull-ups for every bar muscle up or something.
Yeah, I think it was 3. They
no, for like ring rows or something. Yeah.
No, so like I was like, if I do bar muscle ups, they're like, yeah, it'll be 10 pull-ups for every 1 bar muscle up. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this to the partner that I was doing it with. So I was just like, let me just do, because what was it? Wasn't it like Grace and Isabel into max pull-ups or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I think.
I just remember you guys just dominating it. So it's cool to see where you guys are at now. I mean, that was scaled, and that was only what?
Last February.
That's crazy. So that was
the beginning of
that was February of
March
2020, March 2020, and now you competed in Fittest of the Upstate Elite Division and clean and jerk 275. So that's like a year and a half late, a year later, essentially.
The man
That's
strength.
crazy.
The
how-
strength from like 18 to 19 to 20 for me was like exponential. So I feel like for you, it's just gonna. Because I was talking to Daniel Sterling about it too. It was like, he's like, "Man, my numbers are not getting up." I'm like, "Dude, the numbers between you get from 18 to 20 will change everything."
Mhm.
So and he's definitely gotten a lot stronger, and it's definitely gonna happen for you too.
That's awesome. So, all right. So, Jackson, you recently transferred from working out at OSC to Crash. Talk a little bit about that whole process, what led you to that process, and what it's been like at Crash so far.
Yeah, man. So I was at OSC from when I was 15, and that's where I actually met Sergio and everybody. So me and Sergio, I consider Sergio like one of my best friends now. So Sergio was like 19 or 20 when I met him. Me and him would work out all the time together, and he's like, "Yo, like probably like 2019, he's like, "Yo, like I'm gonna start going to Crash." And I was like, "Man, I would love to go to Crash. It's just so far from my house. I just really wasn't like with it at that point." And then you definitely
You still had to be home for dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of my friends left OSC, and it was getting to the point where like I just felt like I was in people's way working out, and I hate doing that. And I was just like, man, I started going to Crash on the weekends with Sergio, and I'm like, this gym is nuts. Because I went to 1.0 a couple times, and then when the new gym opened, I'm like, that's when I'm going to switch. Didn't necessarily make the switch as soon as it happened, just because I felt bad for leaving Rigo, who's the gym owner, because he's done so much for me growing up. So when I finally switched to Crash, it was easily the best decision I've ever made. I switched in May of this year, and my fitness from May to now has been insane. As far as like January to May, but from May to now, it's just like I just feel like a completely different athlete.
And what do you equate that to? Why?
JR's programming.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And I attribute it to training with Jason and JR and Zack and Sergio. It's like I just didn't have that group around me to get pushed by. I think I told you this a couple weeks ago. I was like, the environment that you have right now is what I wish I had at 18, 19 years old. Because like I feel like I'd be a completely different athlete at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like for you, it's like the next 2 or 3 years are you're just gonna keep going, and it's gonna be cool to watch for sure.
Yeah, but how did you get tied into training think tank?
Cool story. My mom loves giving gifts, and every year for Christmas, like we always had games to find our like big gift. And for my 18th birthday, she's like, Jackson, I think I have the greatest gift ever. So she was teasing it about me for months and months. And she's like, a couple days before my birthday, she goes, you know what? I can't take this anymore. I'm just going to give it to you. So I was like, okay. So she hands me this like long tube. Every 18-year-old kid thinks they're going to get a car, right? So it's a poster of Noah Olson. And it says, hey, Jackson, congrats on graduating. Happy birthday. And I'll see you soon. And I was like, see you soon. My mom goes, for your 18th birthday, you're going to go work out with Noah Olson for the day at Training Think Tank.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, how did you pull that off? Long story short, I go to work out with Noah Olson, PR my clean by like 20 pounds. I out clean him, work out with him. And literally like 2 months later, because the goal for me was to get a coach when I graduated high school, because I know I wanted to make regionals in 2018 or 2019. That was before the whole sanctional crap happened. So I knew I wanted to qualify for regionals in 2019. So I got a coach, canceled all of that. So that's how I got a coach from Training Think Tank, was through Noah Olson.
I gotcha. So what did they think when you PR'd your snatch? I mean, you're clean and out cleaned them.
Noah's like, what do you eat, dude? Like, who's feeding you all these? It's hilarious. Like, I don't know. Like, I did not expect that to happen.
Right.
So I think the only reason I out cleaned him is because he caught a red eye flight that night because he was doing some shooting for the Mark Pro. So he caught a red eye flight to come back just to work out with me for the day. And so he was like, hey, you just want to find a max clean? I'm like, let's do it. We're just warming up, and he's like, okay, this kid's pretty strong. And then I think my PR clean was 335 from that video, and I cleaned 335, and he goes, that's your PR? I was like, yeah. He goes, no, it's not. He just keep throwing on weight, and then just had a bro sesh.
Dude,
Nice.
that's awesome.
That was in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's in Alpharetta, so it's about like 10, 15 minutes outside Atlanta.
Yeah, it's really like in the backwoods.
It's the rich part.
Yeah, I've been there.
I'm interested. So it's funny, right before you were talking about Training Think Tank, you were talking about all the guys that you've been training with since May over at Crash.
Mm-hmm.
What's that environment like compared to the environment, when you go down to Training Think Tank and train with like Travis Mayer, Noah Olson, and a bunch of those guys? It's
honestly kind of the same. So if I'm going to Think Tank, I'll message my coach like a week before, because now Think Tank's become like this mecca house, like super power fitness house. So like you really have to let them know when you're coming. If not, you won't have space to work out. So I'll just message my coach and be like, hey, he'll send me my programming for the couple weeks, and I'll be like, oh, okay, we'll see what happens when I go down there. Because he's Max El-Haj, who runs Training Think Tank. He'll come up to me. He's like, hey, you can either do your programming or you can work out with Noah and Travis. And I'm like, dude, let me work out with Noah and Travis. Like, I don't care how bad I get smashed. This is awesome. So just training with them, they're super nice guys, man. Like they're great athletes, but they're even better human beings. So it's just always a good time to get to train with those guys. And same thing with like Jason and JR. Like they shoot the stuff, but it's just like they're good dudes. They want to train, and it's just I'm blessed to be in that environment no matter where I'm at.
Yeah, I texted Travis 2 days ago. I said, Travis, you gonna come up here and do the Crash? And he's like, no. He goes, he goes, my first event's gonna be the Rogue Invitational. I was like, man, all right, fine.
Did you see the money for the Rogue Invitational? I don't blame him.
Yeah,
I don't blame him either.
It's like six figures, right?
It's $230,000 right now.
Good.
So they're doing like that Bitcoin stuff too with it, and like crypto. So like the prize money can only get more from right now.
Wow, that's amazing.
I heard they weren't like anybody can add to the pot, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
like every I know it's like every ticket, every spectator ticket that gets bought, and they have all these different packages. That money goes to the
And
prize
awesome.
purse.
They're giving money from like 1st through 10th, and you get money just for going out there.
That's awesome.
I heard that the top 10 from the CrossFit Games get an automatic
invite.
and
No, I think
or is it
is the
top
top
15?
I have no idea because I know.
I think there's 20 spots. It might be the top 15, and then there's 5 online qualifiers.
I hope there's an online qualifier because I want to do it.
You're gonna try it.
I want to try.
That's awesome. So here's a question for you: when you guys have been working out, with Jason and JR for a while, and then we do the open, and then Jason qualifies through the MAC, and JR qualifies through the online qualifier. What was running through your minds, like how surreal was that this is a guy or these are two guys that you train with every day or at least a couple times a week, and like Jason just won the MAC, and you're like, I've maybe competed with him or at least kept up with him or even beat him in a workout at the gym. Like, how did that feel?
Yeah, I mean, like for Jason, it was definitely like I knew this guy was fit, but I didn't know this guy was this fit.
Yeah.
As far as like just like, because I mean he arguably dominated that competition, like beating Travis Mayer, Scott Panchik, Justin Medeiros, Ben Smith, like all these crazy big names. I remember like actually because JR and I went to the MAC, and we got there during like an event was going on. It was the final heat of the women, and we like walked into the stadium, and I was just like, dude, I'm kind of like fanboying out right now. It's like Tia Toomey is like down on the floor and all these people, but yeah, it was definitely cool to watch Jason dominate that. For JR, it was a little bit different, I think. Like I knew
JR on more of a personal level than probably any of us in here. So
well, like I knew JR was fit enough to qualify, like because I think it was the year. I think it was 2020 or 2019. He got top 20 in the Open in his division. So it's like, and he had been training a bunch, and so I knew that he was capable of qualifying. But that whole process, as far as like, because he got 17th in the qualifier, and then he got penalized, and then he was in 21st, so one spot out, and then he didn't know with the whole COVID thing how that was all going to shake up, and then they announced that they're not doing any backfills for COVID-19, but then this guy out of Asia qualifies in the elite division. So ultimately, a couple of guys that were in the top 20 didn't end up going to the games, and so that's what gave JR a spot. But from the beginning of May, which was the
quarters, right? Or was it
the
Masters?
Well, the beginning of May was the age group online qualifier.
That's right.
That JR did, and then he didn't get his official invite until the
Wasn't
end
it like
of
3 weeks before the games?
It was, yeah, I think it was right at the end of June or the beginning of July.
So he wasn't even supposed to be there, and he still finishes 8th.
He was supposed to be there.
is-
The penalty that he got for the handstand push-ups did not make sense.
I gotcha.
Like, we went back, like he told me, he's like, I watched the video, and the penalty they gave, he like counted out the seconds for how long the handstand push-ups
Right.
take, and for the, like, they just didn't match up. He goes, I don't know how they even got this penalty.
I remember,
And I was in the gym when he did that workout, and I was like, dude, like, he definitely should be there for sure.
I remember when I was at the MAC, and I think it was the second day, and Jason was obviously in first, or it was the second workout or whatever it was, and he dropped. It was doing the thrusters or whatever, and he dropped it, and I was in the catwalk, so I was looking straight down. I was taking pictures in the catwalk. I could see everybody coming down and everything, and when he dropped it, he got behind, but then he came and he like blew it out.
Well, I remember that. I think it was
yeah.
Travis Mayer was right behind him.
Yeah.
And Travis is like world class at lunging.
Right.
And they had those overhead lunges. And I think because it was 10 thrusters, Jason did 9. Most people were doing, like, throughout the workout, I think he was doing 10 and then going straight into the lunge.
Yeah, he was in the lead going in the 4th round. He does 9. Drops it, looks at Justin Medeiros, says he's doing like 6, and then he picks it back up, and just, I thought that might have been the sickest moment from the whole competition.
It was Medeiros. Yeah, it was because Jason put the bar down. Like,
he knew he won that workout when he put the bar down.
He put his elbows on his knees, like in like a resting position, and then just like stared over at Justin, and then like Justin got through, I think, like 4 thrusters. And then Jason picked it back up and out-lunged him.
Yeah, I knew Jason had won that workout. As soon as he dropped the bar and just looked over it, I'm like, he's playing mind games with Justin right now, and this is the coolest thing to see.
He just wasn't. Yeah. He just. I think he wasn't going to work harder than he needed to win the event.
There's no point.
For sure. Hey guys, we're going to take a break to thank our sponsors for today's episode. We're going to start off with CrossFit Greer. If you're living in the Greer area and are interested in getting started in CrossFit, go ahead and look up CrossFit Greer. Jen and Reagan Green are the owners there. If you mention the Apogee Podcast to them, they will give you 10% off your first month's membership fees.
I would also like to thank Blitz Belts and Chris Kane for their continued support of the show. So be sure to use their 15% off coupon code at checkout. That's Apogee, all caps. That gets you, the listener, 15% off at checkout at Blitz Belts on your custom order. I want to thank GoTape for being our new sponsor. GoTape has committed its brand to providing the best in athletic tape. They are the standard for CrossFit tape, scary sticky. Now they are providing the best in KT tape. So at checkout, be sure to get your 25% off your wholesale purchase. Use the coupon code Apogee at checkout.
Finally, if you guys would like to become an invested friend of the show and are interested in supporting the show directly, go to anchor.fm/Apogee Podcast and click on the support tab. We love bringing you guys awesome content each week, so be sure to subscribe to the podcast, drop a review, and let us know how we're doing. All right, so talk a little bit about Zack. Talk a little bit about having the Buttery Bros in town. How was that?
It was cool. It was definitely like a last minute thing I didn't know was happening until JR told me of like a few days before they came. But it was definitely cool to work out with them. And
Was it everything you thought it would be and more?
you know, I don't know.
Was it buttery?
Yeah.
Definitely was buttery. I mean, it was definitely like, it was cool to work out with them at the gym. But there was also like, the next day we went to the track in Greenville and did a couple workouts, and it was just it was just Jason, JR, Ricky, and then the Buttery Bros.
Right.
Marcin and Hebert, and that was definitely cool because that was a little bit more of a intimate experience. And I mean, all credit to JR really, because he's the one that dragged me along.
Yeah, I mean, you made the cut.
Yeah.
You were in the video, bro. It was cool to see.
I was so mad. I had to work the Wednesday that like they came to the gym, and I'm at a work site with Jacob, and Kristen calls me, goes, "The Buttery Bros are here," and I was like, I couldn't leave, but I was like, next time.
Yeah, well, they'll be back for sure. In fact, JR just said I think they're gonna be here for Crucible.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's what he told me yesterday when I was talking to him.
Wow.
Nice.
So I don't know if that was supposed to be a cat out of the bag or anything.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
maybe it's hopeful wishing on his part, but I think that's what he told me. So we'll see if it happens. But it would be great, and it was awesome. Like, you know, I know that the community loves seeing them here, and watching that episode was really cool.
I've watched that episode like 3 times.
Yeah, it was really
I need
cool.
to go back. I've only watched it once. I need to go back and watch it again. Yeah, it was definitely cool seeing, because like I'm as big of a fan of them as anybody, I think, and to see like your own face in their videos is awesome.
Yeah, well, Jackson always talks about how the only thing he watches on TV is YouTube, and literally the only thing I watch on YouTube is the Buttery Bros. And Josh Bridges. That's it.
Yeah. I think that's just how it is nowadays. Most kids, they either watch Netflix or YouTube. That's it. No one watches cable. No one watches anything besides that. It's just like vlogs and stupid stuff, and it's a good time.
That's all I ever watch is YouTube or like Netflix or any kind of documentary channel. I'm watching it.
I'm boring. I just am.
Why are you boring?
Because I don't talk cool. I don't talk cool like they do.
You're too busy. You're too busy watching kid shows.
That's
man,
right,
with your
man.
Kids.
I watch Blippi all morning. You know.
Like Barney and shit.
That's
more
right.
important.
That's right. All right. So talk a little bit about your goals, Zach. As far as, do you see yourself like really pushing to become a semifinals athlete or even a games athlete? Is that like a goal for you, or is CrossFit just more of like, I just love being at Crash and working out?
It's definitely hard to say like, you know, I want to qualify for the games, or even I want to qualify for semifinals. But I mean, I would be stupid to say that that's not a goal. Like that's definitely a goal. But as far as like what motivates me, like I'm just to go to the gym tomorrow and then go to the gym the next day and try to be better than I was the day before. Like that's what I'm really trying to do. And if I do that, day after day, then hopefully then those goals will come to fruition.
What would you consider a successful Crash Crucible outcome for you? Realistically.
That's hard to say. I mean,
Stacked competition.
It is stacked.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I would say, like, if I have a list of guys in my head, if I were to finish in front of one of those guys, like, that would probably be a successful competition.
Are you saying like top 5?
You got to name at least one of those guys.
Absolutely
Like, obviously,
not top
you've
five.
got a name in your mind. Like, who would that person be?
I have no idea. I really don't. I just like probably anybody
Jason
that
Hopper.
he's already posted on, like, anybody that he's posted on Instagram, like, finishing even one spot ahead of one of them. But yeah, I mean, I know that hopefully there's gonna be an event or two that I can, like, be competitive in.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of a goal within the competition, is just to be competitive in certain events.
Well, it's like we told Sean Woodland, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's Crash Crucible. Nobody really knew who Jason was at the time. We all knew he was strong. We knew he was strong. But coming out of it, it was kind of like, wow, this kid beat these people. I mean, you had some people from Think Tank and all that came up, or Training Think Tank.
When he beat Josh and Jake Berman, I was
Yeah.
like, dude, this kid is legit, and it's gonna be cool to watch him in the
I mean,
2021 season.
he beat Mark Hutchinson, and Mark Hutchinson was at the MAC too. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, it wasn't like a blip. This wasn't like a one-time thing.
It's like Jake Berman was at West Coast,
Yeah.
Kyle Bernier was at West Coast, Jimmy Woodard was he was on a team at Atlas.
Yep.
Luke Parker was a TTT athlete at the
Yeah.
time. So it was.
I mean, I told JR too. I was like, you know, I said, you have something very special. I said, it's almost like preseason. Kind of put yourself on the map, see where your season is going to start out, and what you need to work your way up from.
It really is, because
You
I
know.
mean, the season starts in February, so
I mean, like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, the field definitely isn't quite as deep as the semifinal, just because there's not that qualification process that quarterfinals was. But as far as, like, the top 10 for Crucible, or maybe even top 15, I think would definitely be, like, your semifinal caliber.
Dude, I like it because it's like put up or shut up. You know, it's like you got Marquand Jones is coming in. He was at
MAC.
You've got Mark Hutchins coming back. He was at MAC. Hudson's going to be there. Hopper's going to be there, obviously.
Taylor Self, he was
Taylor
fourth
Self.
in qualifying.
You know, you've got. I mean,
Taylor should have been at the games, man.
yeah, I agree.
It's going to be stacked. It really is, and we don't know if that's. I mean, there may be somewhere that's still going to come that we don't know.
I have a feeling JR is going to still expose us in one thing, no matter what. No matter what the programming is, there'll be one workout we all walk away from. We're like, whoa.
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach, if you had your ideal, like you said, something that you would be competitive in for a workout, what would it be? What do you think you could compete with these guys in?
Ring muscle ups.
Ring muscle ups, handstand walk, strict handstand push up, probably. Maybe some toe bar in there.
Everything gymnastics. Good deal. Obviously, we know a 1 rep, so anything is good for Jackson.
Well, it's also hard because the amount of 300-pound snatchers that are at Crucible this year is like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
Because you got
you,
me,
Mark,
Jason, Hudson close?
Luke close, yeah.
Luke Parker.
That's right. Then what did you get? Oh, 305?
305.
Yeah.
Hayes is at like 295. Like, there's a lot of heavy snatchers. So I would like to see anything with heavy snatching, and whatever workout that has the handstand ramp that he's going to program, I'm very excited for it because I love that handstand ramp. I grew up on that handstand ramp. So it's super fun.
That's another thing too, though. Like, the things I think I'm good at, because I can win a workout here and there, like at Crash. There's guys that are just as good and better than me at ring muscle ups, handstand walking, toe to bar, you know? So it's just like, I mean, that's the same thing with Jackson with 1 rep max strength. Like, he's super strong, but there's guys that are coming to Crucible that
Are
can
just
snatch.
as strong.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me because, and I hate to keep bringing Jason up, but when he hit that 300-pound snatch at the MAC, I think he really made his statement. I think he's like, hey, I'm arrived. Because you had Ben Smith hit it. Travis Mayer hit it.
Scott Panchik hit
Scott Panchik hit it.
Travis Williams hit it.
Yes.
Luke Parker.
Maneras hit it.
No, Madero's hit
No, he
285.
didn't. You're right. He's right in front of me.
Who was that? He was in the second heat. He hit 310, the guy that won it. He was at the games.
Yeah.
Zack
Zach
Watts.
Watts.
But I mean, that was to me, that was kind of like his opening statement, being like, "Hey, you don't know me. Here I am."
I told him before he left because I think I snatched. Me and him were in a race to 300, and I snatched 300 like 2 or 3 weeks before the MAC. And I remember texting him like, "Yo, you have to hit 300, or like I'm gonna give you so much crap." And when he hit it, it was definitely more important because he hit it on a competition floor with more pressure. And I just hit it in the gym. But so it was cool. It was cool to see that. I was like, he better put 300 on. Me and David are sitting in here watching it through the TV. I'm like, if he doesn't put 300 on, I'm gonna be mad. And I knew he was gonna put it on.
Yeah.
So Jackson, what do you consider a successful crash crucible for you this year?
Man, last year I think I took 19th out of 27 or 28. I want top 10.
Okay.
I've competed against some of the guys. Far as like in local competitions, and yeah, sometimes they beat me, sometimes I beat them, but like far as like individual, like I want top 10. I think I can. I feel like I can get top 10. And then just to have fun.
Yeah.
Believe. One thing I've learned from last year's crucibles, like I didn't believe in myself at any workout. I want to go into every workout like, yo, you got this. Like you can do it. That's half of it for me. It's just believing in myself to know like it hurts. But you can do it. You're not gonna fail. Like if it hurts, like you're good. Just like lean into the pain.
So what's the one event or one area going into this that you think you need to work on the most?
Sleds. That sled crushed me last year, and I know JR just bought a bunch of handles for the sleds, so we've been pushing sleds twice a week. Whatever workout's going to be coming, it's not going to intimidate me like it did last year.
What about you, Zach? What is the one movement or thing that you're most worried about or you need to improve on the most?
Deadlifting. Heavy deadlifting and like sandbag cleans. Because, I mean, that's pretty much sandbag clean is all posterior, just like deadlift.
Well, there's no short of those at Crash, that's for sure.
I don't think I've done as many sandbag cleans until I started going to Crash.
I have never touched a sandbag as much as I have within the last like 6 weeks.
It's like once or twice a week you're picking up a sandbag.
Yeah.
I love it's good though. It's definitely helped with like breathing and for other stuff. Like we did a workout, like that workout we did on Saturday with the sandbag carries. I'm like, dude, this feels great, and it's just the 150.
Yeah.
What was the one workout you wanted me to do with you last Thursday? And I said I don't want to have a death wish.
I think
partner workout.
The partner workout.
Yeah,
and I can't remember what it all was.
It had 80 ring muscle ups in it. Oh,
that's
dude.
right. That's right. I had another Crash athlete in here for PT today, and she was talking about all those ring muscle ups. Yeah,
Bring them on.
it was a lot.
Yeah,
bring them on. Bring all the ring muscle ups.
Cool. Where do you want to go from here?
Wherever you want to go, man.
All right. So Jackson, it's for all the amount of time that I've known you, it's very evident that you want CrossFit to be a career for you.
Yeah.
Like that's what you want to be. Like when you grow up, you want to be a CrossFit athlete. How soon do you think, if you keep training the way you're training, you'll be where you need to be at a semifinal to qualify for the CrossFit Games?
Man, I would love for it to happen next year. I know I would love to qualify for a semi next year. My main goal right now is to qualify for a semi next year. Games wise, I mean, I don't know. Like I have to definitely get that type of competition experience under my belt to feel more confident in those type of scenarios. I think my potential is just starting to grow right now. Like I feel like my potential is through the roof. Honestly, like 2024, between 2024 and 2025, 26, I think I could be at the CrossFit Games.
Let me ask you this. If you don't make it by the time you're 25, are you good with that? Like, I mean, could you walk away and be like,
I could.
I'm
I
fine.
could. Because knowing that, especially the past couple months, I'm giving everything I have into it, there's no reason for me to be upset.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't work out, but it's not that I didn't try.
Like, I just sometimes see, like, a lot of this, you know, I've grown up with Instagram and all this kind of stuff and seeing how it's changed and how much people put. I mean, obviously you train a lot. You train a lot. You really do, and you've put the work in, and you've done the work. And it's CrossFit to me is really like you can see certain athletes, but you don't know until you put that person out on the competition floor.
Yeah.
And so my only fear for younger athletes and stuff is, if you don't make it at a certain age, are you okay with that?
Because I still love the sport.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've been blessed.
I'm not trying to say you won't.
I get it. Yeah. I've been blessed enough to stay healthy.
Right.
I've never had a serious injury from the 8.5 years I've been doing CrossFit.
Right.
So as long as I stay injury free, first I want to enjoy the sport for as long as possible. I'm loving it right now.
Right.
You go through times like, man, I don't want to do this. I want to do that. Like I want to train all the time right now.
Who is your number one, like when you look at it and you say, okay, who is your number one athlete that you look up to at? It doesn't have to be somebody that's won it.
Yeah. I would have to say like Noah and Travis.
Yeah.
I've spent the most time with them.
Yeah.
Knowing like Noah and Travis haven't won the games, but their lives outside of the games, they're fulfilled.
Right.
Travis has 4 kids. Noah's about to get married. So it's like, just see how they treat themselves, how they treat people around them. I've carried how they treat people into life for me as well. They're just super nice, super open. So it's just like those 2 guys have like role models for sure.
The funny thing, a lot of people don't know. I did a podcast before, and we had Travis was one of our guests at the time when we were first starting. Travis is actually from Spartanburg.
Yeah.
And so he is one of the athletes. I look up to Travis. I don't really tell him that much, but he's fun to watch because he has missed the games and then worked his way back into the games. And he's done,
I've just seen the way he's run his business, how he takes care of his family. Like,
he's a good dude.
He's just a great dude. Like, you can only learn from being around those guys. Yeah. There's no, like, disappointment. It's like, sometimes performance doesn't go the way they were, but they carry themselves. You don't see them cussing on the field. You don't see them doing any of that. Like, whatever happens on the field, they're smiling, and then they take care of what they need to take care of behind the scenes.
I agree. I completely agree.
So I've always tried to just, like, no matter how I feel on the competition floor, hold it in. You're fine. Don't get super pissed off. Don't get super emotional. Walk off the floor. Let it all out for like 10 minutes, and then you have to let it go. Because what happened, and then there's no going back. So,
but seeing those guys from the outside where you are, and you want to make that your lifestyle, I would contend that there's only so many coaching opportunities or so many opportunities like that.
Yeah.
So, you can't really say, hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and expect to have the same outcome.
Of course.
Obviously you can't go to Alpharetta and open up another gym and get the same. And so, obviously you're going to have to go somewhere. You can't do it in Spartanburg because you got Crash there.
Yeah. I don't know but Noah doesn't own a gym. I don't know if I would necessarily want to own a gym.
No, his dad owns a gym.
No, his dad owns a gym, but Noah does not own a gym.
He doesn't. You're right. But Noah reminds me, both of you remind me a lot of Noah because Noah made it. Everybody knows the story.
Yeah.
He told Castro, I'm volunteering, but I'm going to be on this floor one day. And Noah is a prime example of somebody who's busted his butt and done it, and he's there, but he just hasn't won the games. He's won everything else besides the games. Yeah. Like I don't want to sit here and talk bad about an athlete or say they haven't done something because obviously they've done more than I will ever damn do.
I think Noah has changed a lot for the sport on the social media side.
I agree. I was just gonna say that I think what's even almost more impressive about him is how he's capitalized on social media, YouTube, Instagram, and really made a career out of that on top of CrossFit.
Yeah, because like you have sponsors. I've learned this from Noah and Travis. Just because you have sponsors doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make that much money. It all depends on how many Instagram followers you have.
Yeah.
I've heard Noah and Travis talk about brand deals. Noah may get more than Travis just because of how many followers he's got.
Yeah.
It's just you just got to play the game.
Yeah, that's definitely hard. Something that's hard for me because posting stuff on social media is just not my thing, and because it's
But you almost have to have that.
You
have to have a team.
Yeah.
You have to have your own damn media team.
Because
Ricky.
Part of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
What up, Jones?
Part of it's I don't want. I don't want people attention drawn to me, right? And but also, I heard Justin Medeiros talking about this in a video. Like, he's just trying to document his journey too, like his CrossFit journey. Like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. But it's just like, I don't know. It's
but I mean, let me ask you this: with the whole, I don't mean to take it over, but you mentioned Simone Biles earlier.
Yeah.
And she talked about the whole mental health aspect of it. And you've got the Asian American tennis player. I can't think of her name.
Naomi Osaka.
Right. Putting yourself out there, like saying, "This is me. This is my life. This is what I do." That to me is a double-edged sword.
Of course.
You know, you're putting yourself out there, and then you have to also be responsible for the questions you take, or how somebody perceives you. Would you agree or not?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, so I'm just like,
you just have to. If you are comfortable with yourself and who you are as a person, you don't really care about that type of stuff. Like, yeah, like I went through a phase where I was posting all the time, and I only cared about how many likes I got on this. I'd put music behind this, yada yada yada. But it's like, I'm just gonna post what I want. If you follow me, it's because you like me. If you don't, I don't really care.
I agree with that 100%, and that's what I was gonna say.
If I just want to post workout videos, then I'll just post workout videos.
Right, and people want to see that, and I don't think anybody would be like, "Oh, he's trying to pump himself up." People legitimately want to see like good athletes move.
It's like no one's ever come up to me in person and was like, "Yo, I don't think you should post workout videos because I think it's stupid."
Yeah,
it's not your job. Don't
like.
tell me
I
that.
think like if I think it's cool, I'm gonna post it.
Yeah,
and the people that follow me know that.
Right.
So
I 100% agree with that. I think that's a great mindset. I think I was gonna say this too. I think that's one of the biggest things where I've seen in like the last year of growth with, especially you, Jackson, since I'm so close with you, is everybody at the top has talent. Everybody's really good. We just mentioned all these people who can snatch 300, but a lot of it is what's in between the ears that really gets you to the next level. And you can see that in every single sport. You know, Michael Jordan had it. Kobe Bryant had it. Barry Sanders had it. You know, it's like, what can it get me to between the ears to get me to this next level to where I'm actually winning all the time?
Yeah.
And
when you train with people that have it behind the ears, it kind of just becomes natural to you.
between the ears, but yes.
What did I say?
behind the ears.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, but like when you train, like I was talking to Mike McDonald about this the other day. It was like, because I've been at Crash, the only opportunity you have there is to get better. So when you train with people that have it between the ears, it becomes natural. Those decisions become natural to you. So it's been a huge blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to point this out. I think that there's a plethora of great gyms in the upstate. I know that Crash is definitely more towards athletes. It's just a great place for athletes who are trying to aspire to actually compete. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every other gym has to be like that. I mean, the majority of us, like me and Kevin, are just trying to get our exercise and get our sweat in for the day, and that's completely fine. And there's, every gym in the upstate
like you said,
does
there's
a good job
gyms
of that.
all over CrossFit Simpsonville. They have Gordon Lake there, and he offers that program with AGL. You have Hudson over there, and he has that program for that gym. You have Reaction with Amy Fritt and them. They have their programming. Every gym is going to be different.
Yep.
And they're going to structure it to you how it should be presented to you.
Yeah,
And
the upstate community is special, man.
It is.
Especially like how they're starting to run local comp and fittest of South Carolina, which is going to be super cool to see all these other people. It's just bringing people together. Like the upstate is something special for real.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for everything. Everybody, like you just said, Kevin, has their own thing, and everybody's growing their own thing, and it's cool that they're just like letting everybody be involved in it, because like I've said this a million times, I can go to any gym and walk in and feel accepted and know people there and work out with them, which is cool.
Like you just tag local comp, they'll repost it, and then you'll just have people you didn't know when you go visit at gyms. You're like, oh, I know you, and then like you just become friends. Like that's the only. It's just cool.
Yes, exactly.
It's a great community. It really is.
So, all right, Zach, what kind of stuff do you like to do outside of CrossFit?
I like spending time outside, like going hiking or camping or stuff like that.
You got brothers and sisters?
2 older brothers, yeah.
Do they CrossFit?
They do not, no. They kind of work out sometimes, but for the most part, no, they don't. My parents do. Like that's been a journey all in itself. Like when they hit 50, they were like, we need to get hold on our health, and they still do CrossFit with Josh and Jamie, because the Spartan Athletic Club is
How old are they?
2 minutes from my house. 53.
Oh, okay. So I'm 48. I'm like, when they hit 50, I'm like,
Oh no.
Yeah, man, I've always been super blessed to have like my family. My dad's always been into working out, eating healthy. So like I'm super blessed to have a super healthy family. So just being around that and having my dad introduce me to CrossFit was just like,
we were gonna ask you that.
well,
We were also gonna ask you, do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one older sister.
Okay. Does she CrossFit?
God, no.
Oh, okay.
She just started to like work out and eat healthy, which I'm super happy for her.
Right.
But like, far as CrossFit, I think we made her do it once. She threw up. She's like, I'm never doing this again.
It's
And
definitely like, it's so unfortunate what the stigma is around like, oh, I need to get fit before I can do CrossFit, and like I'm never gonna get that fit to walk into a gym, all this stuff, and like that's definitely a super challenging thing for new people. There is there's a program that CrossFit, like big CrossFit corporation, is launching, I think, in like next year or so. It's like a foundations course. It's an online thing that like teaches people about like how scalable it is and stuff to get more people into affiliates. But yeah, because like that's what I've heard. My brothers are in their late 20s, so I mean they're very capable. Like there's people in at Crash that are, I don't want to say less capable, but like they're older and that they're coming in the gym doing the workout. So it's like, dude, if there's a 60-year-old doing the workout, then I'm sure that you can walk into an affiliate and do the workouts too.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about CrossFit. It's just infinitely scalable, you know. And you know, I'm scaled for life, so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that.
Scaled for life.
What kind of stuff you like to do outside of the gym, Jackson?
man, not much. I just like to hang out. I mainly just hang out with my family. Me, my dad, and my mom are super close. So my sister lives in Charlotte. I'll go visit her sometimes every other weekend. But like me and my dad and my mom, we just like to have a good time, man. Just chill, spend time together. I like spending quality time with people. So
cool. All right.
You want to do Fast and Furious questions?
Fast and Furious. Yeah, we can make it Fast and Furious.
The first time that was rolled out, that was always rapid fire.
It is rapid fire.
Fast and Furious.
So we're gonna
someone's
change
been
that.
listening to the podcast. All right.
So Harrison,
I didn't even know that.
we're gonna change it to rapid fire questions.
All right, go for it, Kev.
All right. So what's your favorite cheat meal, Zach?
Ooh. That's a bad one to start on. I don't
Listen to this podcast. Didn't realize that was gonna be the first question.
I don't eat that. I don't really gorge that much.
Ever?
Cheat meal?
Come on, man.
I mean, like I'll have like so I'm like, I don't have any dairy, so I'll have like dairy-free ice cream and stuff, but every once in a while. But like, as far as like going all out, I don't really go all out.
You're still young. You're still young.
He's not doing that late night after
like
parties in college at Wofford.
I don't have any problem with white rice and vegetables.
White rice and vegetables.
Dude,
Wow, hold on there.
Wow.
Dude, whatever. I mean, I'm the same way now. I literally eat white rice and chicken every single day for lunch and dinner, and I love it every single day.
Yeah.
I've started
It
getting on the
doesn't get
chicken
old.
and rice thing.
All right, what's your favorite cheat meal?
Man, burgers, pizza, ice cream, and burritos. Those are probably like my all four. I was a fat kid growing up, man. So
I love you, Jackson.
Oh yeah, that was one question I wanted to ask before we did rapid fire questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about your little recent body transformation and what's been going on with that.
Man, so I have lost about 15 pounds in the past 2 months. I started working with Nick Martin for my nutrition. So a couple months ago, I did Crash Crescendo, the 4-person team, and then Fit is the Upstate was the week after. And my performance in those two, I just did not feel like were the best. And Nick Martin competed at Crash Crescendo, and he's like, hey, man, like, I do nutrition. Like, I feel like I could help you. I'll reach out to you when Fittest is over. It's like, okay, cool. I was like, this dude's just trying to sell me something. Reaches out to me, like, right after Fittest. He's like, hey, how did Fittest go? I was like, I felt like I could have done a lot better. One workout, the first workout, I just got destroyed. I just didn't know what happened. And he was like, all right, so how about we start with nutrition? He is probably one of the easiest people to work with for nutrition. He's definitely changed the way I just like look at food almost. So me and him have been working together for about 2.5 months, and he was like, I'm going to get you like lean 190, 195. And I'm like, dude, I've been 190 to 195 and it's not lean. So, and when I started with him, I think I was 203, and this morning I was 190. So just being consistent with nutrition and having him there has just been super awesome. And I know you've been working with him too, and it's just been, I've seen the transformation. It's just cool to just like learn so much about food that I didn't even know. I've never, I think everybody should have a nutrition coach for a little bit. My mom was with him for like a month and a half. My mom still weighs her food, still does all that, still follows her meal plans, and it's just, and he does CrossFit, so he kind of knows what we're putting ourselves through.
Exactly.
So I think everyone should have a nutrition coach for a little bit.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing, we'll do a little bit bigger plug for Nick because he's such a good dude. But
Complete the Process Fitness.
Complete the Process Fitness. I think the coolest thing about Nick and how he does his nutrition coaching is not only is, and in fact, I don't even honestly know how many calories I'm eating right now because he literally...
It says it on the meal plan.
Well, I don't read that part. I just read how much I have to eat of each thing. He literally makes my meals for me, or I just have to go to the store and buy it.
It's the most...
And then weigh it.
It's the most simple way to do nutrition, and I've shown everyone I know, I'm like, yo, if you really want to get serious about your nutrition and you don't know where to start, look at this. He's like, oh, dude, that's so simple. I'm like, here's Nick's number. Text him. You guys can get started. It's literally the greatest thing
And
ever.
the best thing about it is there is no MyFitnessPal app. I freaking hate that
I
thing.
hated MyFitnessPal.
That is the worst. So if you guys are looking for a good nutrition coach, I highly recommend Nick for sure. Complete the Process Fitness. All right. And you can also listen to him on episode, I can't remember, but he was on this podcast quite a while ago.
Sure was.
All right. Back to rapid fire questions.
Boom, 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 boom.
All right. What is your favorite? All right. You guys are both single. Here's a good one.
Recently single, yes.
Yes, both single. I think I just assumed, Zach, you're single. I've never seen you with a girlfriend, so. All right.
I can't have a girlfriend and work out as much as I do.
There you go.
That's
All right, well,
facts, bro.
This question is
Unless
appropriate
she's
then.
in the gym with me.
If there was one games athlete, female athlete, that could come to Crash and work out with you, and then you could get dinner afterwards, who would it be?
I feel like everyone's answer is going to be Danny Spiegel, but mine would be Christy Aramo O'Connell.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay.
I would say, she's actually not very well known, but Christine Colenbrander, who got 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's from my hometown, Grand Rapids.
Danielle Brandon.
Dude, she just went
With
back
the
to
blue
blonde.
hair.
She's really cool.
No, she's back blonde.
Yeah.
Thank
God.
I
saw that.
Thank God, dude. That blue hair is awful.
Yeah, I think Danielle Brand's just a badass. You know, she's
like how she
just
handled
doesn't
her
care.
whole situation with the games. I thought
that was
really
very
cool.
impressive.
It was.
I felt so bad for Carrie Pierce and Bethany Shadburn for sure.
All right, Kevin, you're up.
So if you had one vacation destination to go to, and it can't be CrossFit, what would it be?
I've never been out of the country, so I have family in Ireland. I would love to go. I've never met them, but I would love to go visit, like, where I'm from. So,
yeah, I don't know. Somewhere, I like the mountains. Somewhere mountainous.
I don't think Zach's ever been outside of Spartanburg.
I've been
Zach, what's the farthest you've ever been from Spartanburg?
Tennessee, the MAC.
Nicaragua. I've
Wisconsin.
been to Nicaragua.
Okay.
see, I've never left the Southeast, and I'm going to Vegas in a couple weeks, and I am so excited.
I've never been, like, Colorado is which I guess is pretty far west, but that's the farthest west I've ever.
Yeah, dude, I've been to, like, everything in the Southeast, and that's it. Like, I've never explored anything out of that.
All right. All right. Let's just say you had to take a big trip, and one of them was either to go snowboarding in Colorado or go surfing in California. Which one would it be, Jackson?
Snowboarding in Colorado. There's sharks in the ocean. I'm good, dude.
Yeah, I would say the same.
I've never been
Colorado.
snowboarding. Like, we don't have snow here in Greenville, so
It's a
We gotta
great way to
change
tear
that.
up your ankle.
I'd pick skis, but if that's an option, but
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Whatever works. So you don't like dairy, so we won't ask that.
I like dairy.
I'm not going to ask you that. Wow. You guys are kind of hard to. All right, so what's playing in your car right now? What music are?
Ooh. I have to turn my music off when people walk into the gym because they don't like the rap that I listen to. I'm a huge hip hop head.
Okay, that doesn't tell me who you're listening to.
Right now, probably just J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, Tory Lanez, all of them.
I can't believe you didn't say the Lil Baby.
Lil Baby for sure. David used to give me so much crap when I talk about like Lil Baby and the Baby, and like
I had never heard of the Lil Baby until I was like, with the Lil what?
you got Lil Baby, you got the Baby. Can't mix them up.
All right, Zach, who are you listening to?
So since these are not rapid fire, but since I started CrossFit, like I've kind of been slacking on my music game. I feel like because I'm either listening to podcasts in my car or I'm listening to like EDM in the gym. But anytime that I do listen to like real music, it's like an alternative rock. Like I love Manchester Orchestra.
Okay,
Fair enough. That's good.
fair enough.
Yeah,
I like him.
that's like that's probably one of my favorite bands.
I now have a new question to going forward.
Oh man, I was so interested in what he was gonna say. I didn't think of anything. All right. What is your go-to CrossFit apparel brand?
Apogee.
There-
Athletic.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I have no
Which
idea.
is coming.
It's
but
coming.
not there.
At the
Yeah.
moment, then if not that, then Nike.
Okay.
I guess
Anything
I
Crash,
don't know.
right?
Yeah, like
There you go.
I wear these shirts all the time.
Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
I have like 5 of them.
Birkenstocks and Stance socks.
Birkenstocks.
If you had to work out with anybody at Crash, you could invite them in. Who are the 2 people you're going to bring in? Zach?
Like CrossFitters, like famous CrossFitters.
Yeah.
Probably Josh Bridges. I'll just go generic. Josh Bridges and Rich Fernie.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
I think they're pretty.
That'd
cool
be a good
dudes.
bro sesh.
They're
Good
pretty
brush
cool.
ass.
Not Noah or Travis.
I wasn't gonna say people
Okay.
I've worked out with. Dan Bailey. And I'd have to say the GOAT, Matt Frazier.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. All right. You guys are down to the last workout, and the top 3 have been established. Podium, and it's a tight race. Okay, so anybody could get top place. Who do you want to see to your left, and who do you want to see to your right to get first place in the CrossFit Games?
So like we're doing a workout, like I'm in the middle, 2 people are beside me.
Sure, yeah, and you guys are going for the top spot. You guys, all 3 are gonna podium.
So who do I want to see beside me?
Yeah, who are you trying to compete
Who's going to be
against?
second? Who's going to be third?
Right.
I'm gonna say Steven Christophetis is one of them.
Yes.
We probably the 2
My
of
man.
us. The 2 of us probably give each other the hardest time. Like I give him the hardest time out of anybody. In the gym.
Steven will give me such a
I
hard
love
time.
that dude. He's
Let's
such
see.
a good dude.
He is.
I have to say my boy Sergio. I want Sergio next to me. Paulo would probably just give me crap if I put him next to me because then he would just start talking crap. So probably Sergio and Paulo. Like I've always said Sergio's my brown brother and Paulo's my brown dad. So
There you go.
gotta have the fam right next to me.
I love it. I love it.
Zach, you? Who you got?
I guess I'll go Steven and JR.
Awesome. Awesome.
Although JR probably wouldn't talk to me for like a week.
So I did want to ask this question. In 10 years, you guys will be, well, let's just say like 6 years, you'll be 27 and you'll be 25. Who do you think, and you guys, let's just say you guys are at the CrossFit Games. Who do you think is going to be the number 1 guy to beat at that point besides yourself?
Ooh,
That's a tough.
that's a toughie. Trying to, you gotta put. I'm gonna say Jason, Dallin, Pepper,
I mean, Justin Medeiros.
Justin Medeiros,
How old? 22.
22.
Yeah.
22. Yeah.
And it's also insane because you got to think about
That kid Gee's gonna be in the sport for a long time.
And I was watching the 16 and 17-year-old division, and
They're
those
grown
guys
men.
are insane.
When I did Wadapalooza, like in the 16 to 18, I was the only person there that looked like they were supposed to be in that age group. Like, you guys look like grown men, and you're younger than me. Yeah. So just the next generation is just going to be nuts to watch.
It's hard to even come up with a couple names because you're right. I mean, it's just
like 10, 15 years from now, like Katie Traffy's kids, it's going to be like they're going to be there.
Yep.
I know they're going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like there's a couple kids that crashed too.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these kids grow up and just see what they're doing as teenagers and then go on.
Because then we started CrossFit when I was 13. They could be starting CrossFit when they're 8, 7.
They already are.
They are, man. My kid's doing CrossFit Kids and he's 4. You know.
Riggins, the 2020, like the 2037 CrossFit Games champion.
Yeah, it's insane, but it's fun, and I think it's cool. Like, you know, you're gonna see like these kids who were D1 athletes going to go play football or soccer or baseball, going to CrossFit, and that's what they want to do. So it's gonna be really cool to see that caliber athlete in CrossFit. But yeah, anyways, I think that ends rapid fire questions. Kevin, anything else you want to say to these young bucks?
Where can they find you on the so-called meds?
Jackson Drohan is just my Instagram handle.
Zack Strehl 16 is my Instagram handle.
Awesome,
That's
guys.
about it.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on this evening. I know I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Zach, it's been great getting to know you the last, couple weeks, couple months, really. And Jackson, obviously, like, you're my boy. We're really good friends, and it's just really cool to see the growth that you've made in the last 6 months to a year. I think both of you guys, the sky's the limit, and it's just appreciate being this young right now and knowing that, you guys can literally do whatever you want. Just keep your mind healthy, keep your body healthy.
Sky's the limit.
There you go. You heard it here.
Apogee Podcast.